Welcome. Welcome to Touching the Edge. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so happy to be here with you today. And we are exploring in this 40-day practice our relationship to happiness, what we can do to clarify the subject for us each, and to share that wisdom that we each have. We each have some element of perspective that can help us all in moving towards a greater degree of happiness. I want to suggest that one of the biggest impediments to being happy is what we feel. I mean, it sounds silly, right? One of the biggest, if not the biggest impediment to happiness is that we don't feel happy. And so I want to encourage us to recognize that our relationship to our emotions and the emotions that we identify most intensely are what keep us from actually becoming happier. What do you feel most intensely? We want to understand that this whole mechanism that we call the mind is actually the combination of what we feel combined by what we think. What we feel influences what we think, and what we think influences what we feel. And the emotions in many ways are the primary focus. What we feel emotionally, our brain, our thoughts will begin to work to enforce and reinforce what we already feel. So our thoughts will exist to reinforce whatever emotion we're feeling most strongly. So if we're feeling anxiety, we're going to tend to think things that reinforce that feeling of anxiety and actually, make it bigger, expand on it, so that we think things that make us anxious, and then our anxiety builds and we step into higher levels that become fearful or resentful or worrying. And then all of a sudden then we think things that reinforce that even more so. So our fear begins to expand even more. So we begin to live in a sort of latent sense of terror, and that resentment begins to build into hatred. And we will be utterly convinced that we are accurate in our perception. The lens of our emotions will color the world in a way that makes us sure that we're right. So please be aware that you are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are a tool to influence your emotions. You are not your emotions. Your emotions are that which come and go. It's like weather patterns. You are that which remains. The emotions happen to you. You are not your emotions. You're not your body. You're not the body that you're inhabiting. Who you were as a child is different than who you are now. And you're not your drama. You're not your thoughts. You're not your emotions. You're not your body, and you're not your drama. Consider activating that speed bump when your thoughts and emotions get going to shift that relationship to them. Here's another practice. Slow your breathing down. Let's do it together. Slow your breathing down. Drop awareness into the lower abdomen, into the hara. Notice something subtle, something that's subtle in your field of vision or in your perception of sound or even in sensation. And right in the middle of the chest, identify with that phrase, I am. So slow the breathing down. Drop awareness into the hara, an inch below the navel, half an inch in. Notice some subtle detail and say the phrase, I am. And once you get settled in that, ask yourself, what are you feeling right now? I'm feeling connected to you, even though I don't know who you are. I'm feeling a sense of hope, even in the midst of so much despair, but I am definitely feeling despair as well. I'm feeling a sense of fear, but I'm also feeling a sense of courage. So name at least 4 emotions and take a breath and sigh it up. And right after you do that practice, just check in with yourself and notice what you're feeling in that underlying sense. I'm going to ring the bell. I'm going to ask you to listen carefully. Here we go. In learning that we're not our emotions, we actually learn that we can actually shift those emotions and become happier. Thank you for your time. Namaste.